Me and my best friend Caleb had a rule. If something was too awkward to say out loud, or if we just weren't ready to talk about it, we'd say, I'll tell you later. Not, no, not, I don't want to talk about it. Just later. It started in seventh grade when I asked why he always skipped swimming during gym class. He shrugged and said, I'll tell you later. He told me 3 months afterward. Turns out he had a huge scar across his shoulder from a surgery when he was a kid, and he hated people staring. After that, the phrase stuck. When I had a crush on someone and didn't want to admit it yet, I'll tell you later. When he got in trouble at home but didn't want to talk about it in the group chat, I'll tell you later. It was our verbal post-it note, a promise with no pressure, and we always followed through. Sometimes it took hours. Want to talk about it in the group chat? I'll tell you later. It was our verbal post-it note, a promise with no pressure, and we always followed through. Sometimes it took hours, sometimes days, once it took a whole year, but the later always came, until the one time it didn't. It was senior year, late spring. We were both burned out, coasting toward graduation. Most days, we barely even talked at school anymore, since he hung out with his robotics team, and I was doing theater stuff. But we always had to walk home. Caleb didn't like riding the bus, said it made him feel trapped. So even if we stayed late for different clubs, we'd sync up after school and walk the same 3 blocks home, splitting off where his street fought from mine. It became our ritual. Backpack slung over one shoulder, bag of sour candy in one hand, dumb debates about hypothetical fights, ninja versus cowboy bear versus alligator, that kind of stuff. That day started normal. He was weirdly quiet, but I figured he was just tired. Finals were coming up, and his sleep schedule was chaos. I handed him the candy, asked if he wanted to come over and play Smash later. He didn't answer right away, just kept walking, staring at the sidewalk like it had something important to say. Then he asked me, totally out of nowhere, do you think people change? Like permanently? I laughed, what? Like Pokemon evolutions? He smiled, but not in a real way. Just that kind of half-laugh you do when your brain is somewhere else. I'm serious. I don't know. I said, maybe some stuff sticks. But I think people mostly just hide it better. He nodded quiet for another block. Then he said, I've been meaning to tell you something. I looked over. Yeah. He hesitated, then said the thing we always said. I'll tell you later. I rolled my eyes. Lame, he smiled. But again, it wasn't the usual grin. It was tight, like he was holding something back. It's just easier.